this course on Shaddarshanas, the 6 systems of ancient Indian philosophy and their systems. We started with Nyaya, the logic, the analytical thinking, akin to modern science. Then we went to understand the Vaisheshikas, almost very similar to Nyaya, but adds on the dimensions of Vishesha, the particularity or the speciality. Then we come to the Sankhya. The Sankhya dealing with the entire philosophical system of Purusha and Prakriti. Bring the concept of gunas in the individuals. Then we have the 4th, the Yoga, in which we have the Patanjali Yoga Sutra at the base, in which gaining mastery over the mind is the key essence. The Ashtanga Yoga is the great contribution of Patanjali, and advanced yoga or the greater dimensions of yoga. Then we come to the Mimamsa. We have the Purvamimamsa and Uttaramimamsa. And the Purvamimamsa dimensions essentially are ritualistic in nature. They are called as Karma Kanda. We have the next the Upasana Kanda, also incorporated in these ritualistic worships. And Uttaramimamsa deals with Upanishads, the Prasthanatraya, which gives us the total knowledge base. Today, welcome to this course on Purvamimamsa. The author of this Purvamimamsa is Jaimini Rishi, a very great Maharshi of great laurels. You know that when we find the laws of nature, we use that to bring social relevance and to bring comforts, health, wealth, harmony, peace in the society. In the modern era of science and technology, we have technology which brings these dimensions. So the science unravels the mysteries and the technology uses it for the applicational aspect of that. Similarly here, we have the science being unraveled by various systems of philosophy, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, others. But how to bring it to our day-to-day life, to bring comforts, wealth, health, harmony, peace, love and so on. For that our ancient seers developed their own technology, and that comes under the broad framework of what we call the Mimamsa, Purvamimamsa. So therefore Purvamimamsa used the findings of the Vedas to bring benefits to mankind. So this is technology akin to modern technology. And therefore I call the Purvamimamsa the technology of the Vedas. Our great Rishis and Maharshis, were able to bring these dimensions to fulfill the desires of human beings. What we all want, we want more and more happiness, more and more comforts, wealth, the sense pleasures, the physical powers and knowledge, better and better health. And these things can be developed by the ancient technology, and that technology is what we call it the Purvamimamsa. So, technology for creating comforts, we are seeing today. As we started using our technology for various purposes, building skyscrapers, underwater tunnels, information technology, and for bringing comfort, we have got hotels, which starts with simple hotels to the single-star cultures, the 5-star hotels, etc., etc. So, technology today in the modern era is used for developing ourselves in the society, developing comforts, and so on and so forth. Even in the field of health, we have very powerful pharmacological interventions, surgical interventions to reduce the pain, and so on and so forth. In the same way, the yajnas, the yagas, which were used in the Purvamimamsa were essentially meant to fulfill our desires. Apart from our basic necessities of life, food, shelter and clothing, we all want more and more of wealth and better health and more happiness, more and more sense pleasures. Therefore, our ancient seers created the technology for that. They are called as the yagas. So, you can develop the yaga for a particular achievement. We have got Kubera Yagna to develop the wealth, and you do the Saraswati Yaga or Homa to increase our wisdom, and so on and so forth. So, as they started developing this thing, they wanted more and more happiness, more and more comforts, and more enjoyment in life, and even moving towards immortality. To overcome the death, can we overcome the death and reach immortality? When they started working for these things, they started developing different yagas and so on. They soon found that staying in this physical world, your happiness will be limited. Therefore, they wanted to have more and more happiness for longer and longer duration, and they started exploring various ways. Science, for example, uses our analytical faculty to analyze things, to go deep into the subject, to unravel the laws that govern the universe. Whereas technology uses these laws found in science by using our creativity, creative intelligence to build different gadgets, apparatus, equipment, instruments, and thereby you develop the comfort objects. In the same way, the yajnas, yagas, havanas and others all try to use the laws found in the Vedas for application to our day-to-day life. And these modalities which they use essentially use the higher forces of nature. For example, there are cosmic entities called deities, and when you worship these deities, then you get different powers, different results that you want. So gods and goddesses they are called, and by meditation on that, by doing the special technology of the yagas and yagnas and them, you will be able to get the specific results, specific desires and so on. So as they started developing more and more yagnas, more and more yagas and other things to fulfill various types of desires, just like we have today a large number of industries, the bigger industries and the smaller industries, they have developed the bigger yagas and smaller havans and several things so that they were able to satisfy each and every desire of a human being, and they went on creating newer and newer things. This is how the whole yajna started developing over centuries to become the ancient technology of the Vedas. And then they thought that we want to enjoy this for longer duration, and the lifespan in this world, in this physical world, is very small. So what is to be done? The lifespan here may be 100 years, maybe 120 years. Can we do it for longer duration? Then they started exploring places where they can go and enjoy this for longer duration. These are called the lokas. Just like today we are exploring whether we can go to moon, whether we are going to various stars and so on. Possibly staying there for longer duration with lower gravity conditions and so on. Similarly, people found that there are 7 lokas, sapta lokas, and in that the astral layer, that is known as the Devaloka, is considered to be the heaven. And in these heavenly abodes, in the Devalokas, people can live for a very, very long time, starting from almost 1 million years to 1 billion years. And the laws that govern these Devalokas or the heaven are totally different. There you have large lifespan of youthful years, maybe millions of years in the youthful period. Therefore it is called as the eternal youth. And you can have all the sense pleasures there. And that is the concept of heaven. Therefore, is it possible to go to those heavenly abodes by performing these different yagas and havanas? That became the goal. So therefore, all the yagas and the yagnas essentially were meant to reach the heaven. That became the goal of human beings. So methods were developed to reach the heaven, and these yagnas, yagas, etc. were meticulously developed. Just as today we have industries. When you want to manufacture a car, you know all the laws, you know how to do that, and you develop complete checklist how to do that, the different departments, the sections, and each and every item, and prepare the whole checklist and big volumes, and people are trained to do that, and they have to do that meticulously, precisely, accurately, without a single mistake. Then only they can achieve. Modern total quality management develops the quality. Similar things were developed in performance of the yaga and the yagnas and so on. So there are huge books. These granthas give us the full detail as to how to perform a particular yagna for a particular result. It might be a small yaga, it can be a big yaga and so on. And essentially these yagnas, yagas involved 3 dimensions. One, they should give and give. Dana is a part of that. Control over the senses and compassion and love. These 3 ethical dimensions, the sattvic dimensions of the human personality, were incorporated into the yagnas, into the performance of the yagas and the havans and so on. And people should follow this meticulously. And if they don't do it properly, if they commit some mistakes, then the results will be opposite. There can be a boomerang effect. And therefore, they had to follow these things very, very meticulously, they found. And once they started doing these things, they will get the desired results. Just like in an industry, we follow the checklist, we get the results accurately, we get that. What is the mechanism? Today, in the modern era, we know this entire physical world is made out of energy, the electromagnetic field, and we know the laws that govern them. Newton's laws of motion, probabilistic mechanics, the quantum mechanics. Using these laws, the technology has been developed. And energy is at the base by which we do things. And how to bring in this energy that forms the dimensions of an industry. Whereas in the Vedic technology, they use subtler dimension, what we call as the prana. According to the laws found in the Vedas, prana is at the base of this whole creation. Pranasya idam vashe sarvam tridiveyat pratishthitam mateva putran rakshasva Shrischa Pragnancha Vidhehina iti, it is said in the Prashnopanishad. Therefore, using this prana, we will be able to work at the deeper levels, to raise ourselves to the subtle layers of our consciousness and reach those different lokas. And this is how the prana has been used. And in modern technology, we have moved from the gross to the subtle, in a sense. Earlier, we would do everything in a mechanistic way, in a mechanical way, the hardcore, we can say. But now we have started using information technology. The softwares have started coming. And this is working at the mind level, the intellectual level, the creativity level. Similarly, as the yagas and the yagnas started developing themselves, they started using the dimensions of mind, meditation, and that is called as upasanas. Therefore, the karma kanda and the upasana kanda became part of every ritual, yagna and havan, homas and yagas. So in upasana, you direct your attention, you meditate on the cosmic deities and tune yourselves to get at those higher levels. The oblation to fire helped in invoking the prana, and through the process of Agni, they were able to reach the higher levels. All these things were unraveled, and this unraveling started coming up. This is how the Mimamsa started developing. The word Mimamsa literally means revered thought. And its core tenets are essentially ritualism, orthopraxy, anti-asceticism and anti-mysticism. Here, you want to enjoy more and more. You are not going away from these things. And that is the essential feature of the Mimamsa. So the Purvamimamsa sutras were developed 300 to 200 BC, and Jaimini wrote those Purvamimamsa sutras, which contains 12 chapters, and there are 60 sections in that. And each section divides and develops the particular dimension. For example, injunction, the vidhi, the explanatory dimensions in chapter 1. In chapter 2, you have the variations of different rituals. Then in chapter 3, the Shruti, the sense of the passage, that is the linga. In the 4th chapter, for example, Rajsu Yoga and subsidiary parts have been described. So like that, each chapter describes the different dimensions of the yagas, the yagnas, how to perform, what are the rituals, how we have to do. Everything has been developed in very great detail. All the 12 chapters in 60 sections, very voluminous thing we have done. And the prasanga, the tantra and the accumulation of the concurrent rites have been described in the 12th chapter. So, how to worship, what are the mantras to be used, how to be chanting, everything has been developed in great detail. And therefore, the Mimamsa Shastra developed these textbooks, these granthas, the sutras as they are called. The Karma Kanda assumes that the cycle of karma is perpetual, and you have to do the right actions, the perfect actions, to see that you reap its benefit by going to the heaven. And if you do not do the things properly, it is called as adharma. If you do it rightly, it is called as dharma. So the tenets of dharma, tenets of adharma have been mentioned clearly in the performance. So the Vedic dharma, as it is called. And you have to follow those things very meticulously. And the dharma containing the dana, daya and dhamma, as I mentioned earlier. So great weight is placed on the performance of the karma in a particular way, as explained by the Vedas. And this is known as the Karma Kanda. And in Karma Kanda, we have essentially 4 types that have been mentioned. One is the Nitya Karma. People have to do every day. And this is for purification of themselves and developing themselves, prevention of diseases, promotion of positive health and so on. Then we have the Naimittika Karma. This is for incidental things, to deal with specific items. Then we have the Kamya Karma. This is the large number of yajnas and havanas in which you have to satisfy your desire. You want wealth, you want physical power, you want wisdom, you want go to heaven, all types of different desires that you have, you can fulfill by this Kamya Karmas. And the Prayaschitta Karma is the 4th dimension. When you do a particular mistake, you must know how to remedy it. You have the Prayaschitta Karma that you have to do. These are the 4 dimensions of the Karma Kanda that has been mentioned in these things. And Mimamsa is very realistic in nature. It is not mumbo jumbo. It is very pragmatic, very practical, and it satisfies your sense pleasures. You want comforts, you want the development of the society, and you are not going towards sannyasa or getting away from the society. You are very much in the society. You want to develop in the society. You want to enjoy in the society. You want to have the sense pleasure. You want to have the comforts. You want to have a healthy life. You want to have good food, and all these things are the feature of the Mimamsa Shastra. And people started developing this creation by natural processes. What is the concept of creation here in Mimamsa? They did not believe in some god or mystic element. They said it's all by the natural forces. Just like modern science says, there are set of laws of nature. You have to unravel that. Using natural laws, the creation has come. The school, therefore, has a mechanistic view of creation. Everything comes into existence through the natural processes. Just as children are born to the parents, it is said. And by this, Mimamsa has started growing continuously to greater and greater heights and became prevalent over centuries. What are the pramanas to get at the right knowledge? Just like in Nyaya, Vaisheshika, we saw the different pramanas. Here also we use the pratyaksha, the direct cognition. The second is the inference, the anumana pramana, and the comparison, upamana pramana, and the agama, the Vedas. Apart from that, 2 more are used. This is called the arthapatti and the abhava pramana. So there are 6 pramanas that are used to get at the right knowledge. And Mimamsa advanced the unique theory that all cognitions are valid. All knowledge are true until it is superseded by further cognition. This is what we are seeing in modern science. So we develop the laws and we use that until it is surpassed by a higher law. For example, we saw that the Newton's laws of motion from the classical mechanics. But when we went into extremely high speeds like the electron, we found Newton's laws will not work. We have to go to the higher laws called quantum mechanics or probabilistic mechanism. Similarly, here also the laws that are governed are used, and when you surpass that, you go to the higher and higher laws. So what is to be proved is not the truth of cognition, but its falsity. So what we have to see is Newton's laws of motion is not applicable to this region of the high speed electronic movements there. Similarly, Mimamsakas brought out this dimension, went on developing newer dimensions. So Mimamsakas drew on this theory for the validity to establish the unchallenged validity of the Vedas. And this is how Mimamsa started developing. Dharma is the right thing. And one has to understand what has been told in the Vedas accurately. Therefore, people started doing a lot of contributions to go into great accuracy of the semantic. And they said words have a particular meaning and words are the ones that we have to give. But there were debates. It is not only the words, it is the sentences. Because the words in a particular context can mean something else, and therefore sentence is more important, which convey the dimension. Therefore, people said sentences are more important and words in each sentence can mean differently. And Sanskrit is a wonderful thing in which we have the great vocabulary, and so it's not just a tongue just like any other language, but it is the expression of the sound of the divine, and therefore different sounds which were used in the Sanskrit language started bringing out the special power into it. So when we chant the different mantras in the specific way, it brings power, and words were regarded as very, very important dimension. So just as we are moving today from information technology, from the gross physical thing, the Karma Kanda started developing from just the physical dimension into the Upasana Kanda of the higher entities, and it started developing, working directly on the astral plane directly. This is how the different mantras, the Upasanas were all used in the whole dimension. In the Upasana Kanda is also the Sankarshana Kanda, and this Sankarshana Kanda uses the technique of meditation on any of the following three aspects. One is called Ahangrahopasana. That means you can do meditation on the different parts of the body. For example, you can do on the Nabhi Chakra, you can do on the Bhrumadhya, and you can do in the heart chakra, or you can do on the Brahmarandra. This is called as the Ahangrahopasana. And when you do a ritual, you can work on this thing to purify yourself. Then we have the Pratikopasana. That is the 5 main deities. You do meditation on the sun, on the Ganapati, on the Ambika, the Shiva, and the Vishnu. And the third is the Karma Upasana, Karmanga Upasana, in which you invoke Devatas in every action you do. These are the 3 dimensions of Upasana that have been used in the Sankarshana Kanda and the Upasana Kanda. Karma Kanda dealt with ritualistic aspects in Mimamsa and led all actions towards Karma Yoga, while Upasana Kanda dealt with the meditation on different deities working at the mind and the emotional level. Therefore, it brought in the dimensions of Bhakti Yoga in the whole encounter. And this is how the Purvamimamsa is the technology of the Vedas and brought dividends to our society to build ideal social orders, and we started developing more and more. And from there, now we go to our next course, the Purvamimamsa. So we have the Karma Kanda, we have the Upasana Kanda, and move on to the third, or the Gnana Kanda, that is the Vedanta and the Purvamimamsa. Thank you all.